You're watching once again a YouTube video presentation of the University of Wyoming Center on Aging. I'm Scott Veach. I'm your host, and on this program we'll be discussing topics of interest for caregivers of loved ones with dementia. We hope that you will subscribe to the channel and you'll hit that thumbs up like button. Both of those actions help the channel to grow and allow us to reach more people. And if you'll tap that notification bell, you'll be alerted each time we upload a new program. And now, this is Once Again. My guest today is Kent Shurtleff from Kinnear, Wyoming. And Kent and I have a couple of things in common. Besides being buddies, we both cared for our wives who had dementia. And we're going to be talking about that today, talking a little bit about what it was like to be a husband caring for a wife, and also what's coming up in the future. So, Kent, thanks so much for being with us today. Let's start at the very beginning. You and your wife, Minnie, were married for how long?
We were married for just very close to 50 years before she passed.
And I think that you have one of the all-time great stories on how you met, and I never get tired of hearing that. So tell that story again.
My wife and I were working in Gillette, Wyoming. She was a PE teacher. She had a elementary football team that she was working with. I happened to be the official at one of their games. And I should say that was in 1970, the mid-70s. Gillette was a boom town. It was a boom town. And girls hid in Gillette because there were so many guys and they were making so much money and they were spending it, and so the women kind of hid there. But anyway, I had seen this girl around, and I worked for the Campbell County Recreation Department, and I was officiating this game. And so the game started, and like normal, when you're an official, I made a horrible call, supposedly. And she came out on the field, and the reason she came out on the field because the parents thought I made a horrible call and she was pushing it. Anyway, so she comes out on the field, and we're both young. I mean, she was just barely a teacher and I just barely got out of college. So she comes out on the field, and I said, I knew her name, so I said, Miss Roundtree, there's about 3 things we need to talk about here. First off, let's get off the field. So we walked off the field, and I said, when you want to talk to me as an official, you don't need to walk on the field. Just holler at me and I'll come off the field and we'll talk. Second thing is, you don't grab the official by the arm. You don't grab officials when you're... And I said, the third thing is, maybe we should go have coffee and talk about this. And that was the start of our 50-year relationship right there.
And she obviously said yes.
She did. As I remember, she said yes. Yeah.
Well, you have a story on how you and Minnie met, and there's a story about how my wife Mona and I met as well. And we met in college. We had a class together, and I have gotten a lot of mileage over the years about telling this story, because when Mona and I first met, she was engaged. She was engaged to someone else. The first time I ever saw her, I walked into class at the beginning of the semester, and she was seated at her desk, and there were about half a dozen girls standing around her, and she was showing them her engagement ring. She had gotten engaged over the summer. And how she broke it off is another story for another time. But we talked about that after we'd been married, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years. This had been in the early 1980s probably. And we were just talking one night, and I said, what was that guy's name that you were engaged to? And she said, I don't remember. And I said, "Come on, Mona." I said, "It's okay. What was his name?" She said, I don't remember. I said, "You can tell me, it's okay." And she said, "No, really, I don't remember." And I've often thought over the years, how common is it for a woman to forget the name of the guy that she was once engaged to, right? But I thought too, what a great gift to give to your husband, that you don't remember, the name of the man that you were with before you met. And I remember thinking, this is going to be a great story. One day I'll be telling my grandkids about it. And it is a great story, and I have told my grandkids about it. So we both have kind of background stories. So Minnie was a teacher. You guys spent your whole time in Wyoming, in the Riverton, Kinnear area, or?
Yeah, we moved from Campbell County in Gillette to Riverton, Wyoming in '78. We lived kind of a dual life. Minnie didn't teach once we moved to Riverton, Riverton. But we lived a dual life. We wanted to be part of the ag sector because we wanted a little farm if we could find one, and I would continue to work. I was a banker. I worked at that. What took us to Riverton was a bank job, so I just worked for a bank there. So I got to work in town while we found us a little place, and while she worked out on the farm. So we kind of worked a dual life. And we lived there. I was there at the bank for 20 years, and she worked on the farm for 20 years. And during that time, we had 2 boys, and so we got to raise them on the farm, and kind of the way it worked.
Yeah. You had 2 sons, and I know that you and I talked, and they were that you played sports. You played football. Were your boys in sports also?
Absolutely, yeah. Our boys went to school at Pavilion, Wyoming, which is a teeny little town, and you get to play sports whether you want to or not. But they both were athletic and played sports. It quit after my oldest son, when he graduated, he went to University of Wyoming, then on to law school, so he didn't play sports. And my youngest son went in the Marine Corps right out of high school, and he didn't go to school till he got back. But they were both athletic kids, and yeah.
So when did Minnie start teaching?
She started teaching right out of college. She went to school at Northern Colorado. That's where she was from. She was she was raised on a dairy farm in northeast Colorado, and so she went to school in Colorado, and then she was actually we used to kid about this, but she was way older than I was. She was about a year and 2 months older than I was. And so she started teaching before I didn't know her when I went to Gillette. I went to Gillette for a job at the rec department, like I said earlier, and she had been teaching that time.
What did she teach?
She taught PE. She was a PE teacher. She could have taught some other, but she liked PE, so that's what she taught. Elementary PE teacher. So that's what she did.
I keep coming back. The similarities that we share are really something, because Mona is a year older.
Oh, really?
Me, a year and a couple of days older than me, and she taught kindergarten, and she was a vocal music major in college. She sang, and so she taught kindergarten, and then she also taught the school choirs. And you have 2 kids, both boys, and I have 3 kids, all girls. So we're weaving the fabric here of the relationship. When you think about the life that you guys had together, it sounds I don't know, pretty all-American, pretty...
It was, I think, in my view. what we both knew, we were both kind of rural. She was raised on a farm. I was not. But my family had farm. From my mother's side, they farms in southwest Kansas, and so we were both kind of rural, and we both knew how to work. That's really good. I was not academic. Minnie was way more academic than I was. She could kill me at math games. She was way better than I was academically, but we both had a vision of kind of what we wanted. We both worked a lot of hours, and that's probably one thing we had in common. Our kids worked too. I mean, they worked, so, and they still do. So it's kind of amazing how that works.
Kent Shurtleff is our guest this morning. He is from the Kinnear Riverton area in Wyoming. We're going to be, this is kind of the background video. We're going to be talking about our lives. The thing that we share in common is that we were both caregivers for our wives who had dementia, and we're going to be doing that. This is going to be a multi-part conversation, and so this is the introductory part of that, and we're going to be back next time in about 2 weeks. The next edition of this will be posted. We'll get a little into the Kent and Minnie Shurtleff story, and we invite you to be with us at that time. You've been watching once again a YouTube video presentation of the University of Wyoming Center on Aging. We hope, if you haven't done so already, that you'll subscribe to the channel and hit that thumbs up like button. Both of those actions help the channel to grow and allow us to reach more people. And if you'll tap that notification bell, you'll be alerted each time we upload a new video. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Scott Veach. We'll see you again next time.